What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So really all we're going to do in this video is just sit and watch the market together. I might take a couple trades here and there, but the whole concept of this video is to really show you how markets move. So we're just going to keep popping through stocks and showing you guys essentially how this stuff works. So something that just came out of the scanner recently was CLDX. So let's pull that stock up. Alright, so you can see CLDX had this little pop here, jumped up, and let me link these charts back together, so let's do that. Alright, so where is CLDX going to pull back to? Again, it already kind of did, but most likely this deviation mark right there, so let's give it a go. There's a good chance you're going to see it come down to that price point and start to get bought up a little bit. Now, it's not the strongest support typically, but hey, you can see market shot up. They pulled back right to about there, kind of starting to pull back on the upside. Let's see what this random junker is over here, APEN. That's just gross. You wouldn't even want to touch that with the 10-foot pole. See what FSLY is doing. Oh, here's a good example. So you can see FSLY on this chart here bounces, right? So the average way we would look at this would be, oh, here's support. So as the price holds, it goes up, and then we come back down, we should be buying in that location. That is very true. But in reality, the support is holding at that trend line. That's what we're really trying to hold, is that trend. Not necessarily this bottom entirely, but that trend there. Let's go take a look and see what HUSA is doing. I know this was jumping earlier. So this is a perfect example. I'm going to tell you right now that HUSA is probably going to run close, and if not right to about this point at 460, and then it's going to see resistance, and then it's going to pull right back down. So let's see if in fact we have a move on HUSA up to that 460 and or the difference between 460 to 466, and then you're going to see resistance and see it get crushed back down. Good chance that that happens. So let's give it a go. Let's see. We'll just sit here and watch patiently. Couple people in our chat room right now. Mr. Lopez, HUSA is trending up again, just broke the VWAP. Totally true. So we got a little pullback here. Many times this would be a situation where you pull back and then you actually spike a little higher. Good chance you see that. So let's see. Because for right now, yeah, we really don't have any pullback support down until about $3.98 currently. So the risk that traders have with this trade currently is that their pullback support is pretty much all the way down at 396. So to take an entry up here, your support is all the way down here. So your risk to reward on that trade would not be very good for right now. So the pullback is completed. We're getting bought back up. This is where we essentially would like to see the bulls push this over the previous high of 540, run us up to about 460, if not the 468 mark, and then really see the sell-off conclude there. All right, there goes the break. Now we're pressing closer to our trending resistance. Almost there. You can see on the right side of the screen it's hitting the high-a-day scanner now. So that there could attract a lot of new traders into the market to give us that last final push into what we know is resistance. So watch this, right to that 460. Bink, through it, and look where we go to 468, 466. Here comes the resistance. We went a little bit through there, so that's really cool. That's lucky. That's essentially what you want to happen every time, but now taking an entry over this is extremely high risk. All right, so we went to our trend. We peeked through just a bit. Now the goal for the bears is to bring this candle back down and break this trend here at 463 and at this trend here at, 469, and back down under. And there it goes. And if you look at the ultimate volume system we run here, you're going to see that the system is starting to shift to all bearish selling activity. And there you have it, guys. The run up to the target of trend peaked a little bit through because, again, if you think about it, this stock had a lot of hype and a lot of momentum today. So you can be sure that there were some traders that thought this was going to keep going. They popped it a little bit higher. But you can see now that the resistance is coming into play here right at the 460s, up as high as now 470. Okay, so look at this candle goes right back to where? Right back to the trending resistance at about 470. The bears really need to hold below that 470 trend, or else, again, they could get squeezed out. So I still think you're going to see this drop down a little bit more. So again, I would not be taking any sort of long position here. Extremely high risk. You would most likely lose 9 times out of 10. Sorry for all the commotion in the background right now, but just trying to make this video as descriptive as possible for you. So again, when you guys see this in real time as I'm explaining it, I want to make sure that you share this video and hit a thumbs up as many possible times as you can. It's interesting, recently a lot of my videos that show all this unique trading, they're not getting a whole lot of views, so it raises the conspiracy theories in me, whether or not YouTube is purposely not pushing my videos, because this would really teach traders how to avoid taking bad trades, where to take good short entries, and really becoming very profitable. So again, the game probably doesn't really want that. So again, make sure to hit this thumbs up, share the video. All right. So on the way down, what could we expect happens to the stock now? All right. So let me shrink this screen. Again, we don't really have any trending support until $4. So this is where we're in the situation that there isn't a low risk long entry really until about $3.99, and what the bulls are just looking for now is to hopefully create a consolidation flag. So let me draw a little flag pattern for you. Now what the bulls are looking to do is create some sort of consolidation here, maybe into a flag pattern, and then break it up through that trending resistance, because you can't get another breakout until you successfully cross through 465, which we're starting to do, and through that trending resistance there at 474. You can see how we peaked just to it, came back down. So you won't get another breakout here on HUSA. This is a situation where many traders would see this run, they would see the dip, and then they'd buy in thinking that the trend's going to continue, unknowing that they're really just buying right into resistance, and most times people are selling into them, okay? Because there cannot, I promise you, there cannot be another breakout until you're successfully crossing through that 465 target. So the most logical trade you would take at this point, again, was the long move up to our trending resistance, and then you would close your trade, okay? The next breakout, if it were to happen, is usually the luckier move. So if you just get in the habit of trading from your point A's to point B's and being happy with the logical trending move and not really looking for that exceptional big blowout move, you will find yourself hitting more base hits, being more profitable, being more consistent day in and day out. So remember what I said earlier. This is a situation where we either drop out, again, to our next low risk support of about $4, okay? Or we go into a flag pattern where the bulls and the bears are going to fight themselves to try and break this out and break this down. And eventually there will be a winner. Now, I will say that typically the winner in this situation would normally be the bears, okay? So because we've seen such crazy volatility on the stock, there's optimism that this could keep going, and it's probably making it a little bit harder for the stock to break down because of the wicked trading we saw. So this is creating enthusiasm and optimism into the stock that otherwise probably wouldn't be there. So I still got to go with the bears here. I think that ultimately the move's going to break down, and the longs that are buying into this wedge pattern will get smoked. So I'm going to say wedge pattern breaks down. And I will change that bias if at any point I feel that the markets are trending up high enough with enough strength to get through that 460. Again, you're not breaking out unless you're going through 474 in total. So again, even if this wedge pattern breaks up a little bit, it doesn't actually break out until it successfully blows through 474, okay? So I'm going to join the bears here. I think this wedge pattern is going to snap to the downside. And if you look at the volume system, we're getting increasing selling volume. At least we were just there. You can see how the selling volume's actually increasing in this wedge pattern. So I'm going to have to join the bears on this one. I think we're going to snap down. So let's see how that all pans out here in just a sec. Oh, and now the low risk kind of entry to the level on the long side for right now is at 402. So you can see that price level has changed. As the trend of the stock continues and as price action moves, the trends need to continuously move and stay updated so that they are accurate. So our trend now support is at $4.02. Now this is where most of the retail market is going to stop out. They just all stopped out on themselves. Here we go. We're dropping out. Good chance we can see this market down to about $4. Okay. And if it doesn't go down to $4, that's okay, but I won't trade it, right? If I want to trade this, I'm only going to take my entry on what I know to be a low risk entry, which starts at around that $4 price point. So there's a little bounce off the volume weighted average price. That could very well hold as support, but again, I know low risk is right here at $4. So if the VWAP traders want to join in, go long here, that's completely fine. I won't be active because I know the lower risk level is down here at about $4.03, $4.02 right now. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of keep peeking around at other stocks, see if anything interesting is happening that would make sense to go over with you guys. All right, so good chance we're going to have more traders stopping out. Here we go. Bing, bing, boom. There we go. And I will take a little market long. I'll join the bid here. Try to get some shares. All right, taking a couple thousand. All right, now we're starting to bounce it. Put some shares on the ask there. Put some more shares on the ask. Cancel those buy orders. Put some more shares out there on the ask. So it's a little scalp trade for the time being. Okay, not bad. Making a little bit of money along the way. Bing, bing, boom. Try to get some out there on the ask. Get a little bit more on the ask. And now we got 200 shares for free in the stock. There you go. That's the low risk bounce level. Now, we could argue that this wasn't the greatest bounce. And sure, there's a reason why it may not be the greatest bounce because we already had a really big move. Okay, and now I'm just going to close that out because for this video purposes, that's awesome. That I'm able to catch that in real time for you guys. So again, that's the low risk level for that bounce trade. As I mentioned, please make sure to thumbs up this video and share it to as many trading places as possible because this will really, really help traders to understand the market and to avoid getting faked out, to understand where the lower risk levels are to put risk on. Trading is about managing risk, okay? So it's all about understanding where it makes sense to put some risk on. I even showed you the VWAP traders were going to come in and we were probably going to drop all the way out to 4 when we were trading all the way up at 467, okay? This is not random. Sometimes it's a little random and you get a little faked out here and there, but again, this is the way the game goes, okay? So I could only imagine, if this video doesn't get some good views and it doesn't get some attention, I do have to say that I think the YouTube algorithm is rigged against me. Seriously. So there you can see the bounce. For right now, I would say that's probably about as much as you're going to get out of that bounce. And the reason I say that is because we had such a drastic sell-off here. That's about it. You know, we can't really suggest that this bounce is going to go all the way back up to the 465, even though that's the nearest closest trending target. It seems very unlikely that we're going to go back up to 465. So now for HUSA, you're going to put yourself into a market that essentially is going to trade sideways. It's going to fake people out, yada, yada, yada. So until it does enough sideways trading, typically confuses enough short sellers or traps enough longs, you usually don't get that next really big move. So for what it's worth, I would say there's a higher degree or higher chance that we're just going to sit in sort of a sideways market here for a little bit, kind of chopping around, doing some goofy trading, and not really having aggressive moves in one direction or the other that you would necessarily want to trade. All right, let's go take a look at some other things. So Nvidia, I mean, that's okay. Here's a good example, right? You can kind of see, look at this. Look, Nvidia's like kind of looks like it's going to drop. Well, it's only going to drop when it successfully gets to our trend line on the right. So you can see we're battling to break right here on this trend. So until we look at, see how it gapped up on that candle? So it held trend, gapped up. Okay. So you can only get that breakdown here as we successfully snap through that candle, 100%, okay? So let's see how this just reacts here, okay? And if you do not run our double charting system strategy like this, then you're not going to know these levels exist. It's just plain and simple, okay? Now, I'm not saying this is the only way to trade. There's plenty of ways to trade. But for me and for many of the students that we have and many of the traders that we've taught via YouTube that have been able to understand this, they're just killing it. They're doing such a fantastic job trading. This has been one of the best years of my trading career. And so every year, you know, when you do this, you get better, and you get better. And, you know, me working on YouTube, it's always been about trying to provide the value to traders far and wide. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm not trying to hide things from you, right? I'm trying to show you, like, this is where I'm at in my career, and I want you guys to be at the same position, right? So you can see, look at this candle. It's kind of coming up. You know, something very common you would see is this candle pop back up to like that 530.25, then reject, then go down. But you can see that candle did not actually get aggressive and snap till we went through the trend at 530.24. Let's go ahead and move on to something different. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the S&P right now. So the SPY, perfect, okay? Look at, I bet you this candle, I bet you this move pulls back right to this green line. Okay, I bet it pulls back right there. I'll do a little scalp there. Sure, why not? Let's do it. Come down a little bit more. Sometimes they shy away from them. They don't quite get there. So you will run into situations like this. It's like, oh, it's coming down, but didn't quite get there, and then it might bounce a little bit before. So you will have situations like that. And the only way to really maneuver that is just experience, right? But the best thing I can tell you if you're newer, just trust the system and that the market will go to these levels. Okay, so we actually snapped down there a little bit, right? But I'm still going to take a little long because I think the market will bounce this back up a little bit. Right, and see the level that it went to? Oh, I actually sold there. Sorry, I fat fingered a little bit. But see, now we have the next level down. So our next level down, and actually that's going to work out well. So let me flatten that. And then I'm going to buy here because I know we just hit that level on the right. You can see that dotted line on the right. We just kind of snapped down to there, hit that level. So that's our next low risk bounce level. Let's see if we can get a little tag on that and a bounce back up, okay? And this, as you can see, is kind of matching up somewhat similar to the support over here. And again, I'm not trying to say that these are the best trades in the world that I'm taking live with you. I'm really just doing this to show you how these stocks interact at specific levels and essentially how they move, okay? So there we go. I'll take another little bit there. I think we're still going to be able to push this up a little bit. Okay, as you watch this candle on the right screen, there's a good chance we go back up to about that 331, and then the market will try to reject at about that 331 price. But to get a bigger trade, you got to bounce over it, and I'm not going to try to press that too much, so I'm just going to pretty much take my trade off. I'm putting it on the ask so I don't lose, but we're just going to close that out, okay? So maybe not the best example, but again, doing my best to show you this stuff in real time with what I can do here at this time of day. All right, but you can see, right, we kind of come down and we're bouncing. So that wasn't the best example. Let's go back to HUSA, see what's going on. All right, so you can see it's just kind of grinding. It's not really doing anything too aggressive for the time being. CLDX is garbage. Let's see what Roku did today. I mean, but here you go. You can see Roku, what did it do? It went right up to our green levels. The short sellers are taking advantage of that low risk entry up there. They're shorting the opposite side of that move. This just hit the scanner, SEEL. It's probably low volume piece of shit. Oh, perfect example. Look at this. Look at where we're going on the right screen, right into resistance, okay? So you can see, look at the candle stopping. Where is it stopping? $1.01. Look where our trend's at. $1.01. Boom. It's not random, okay? So again, we have a link in the description of this video, first link in one of those videos to see my trading strategy. That will help you guys get set up and understand this approach, okay? Now, there's a good chance that this actually breaks that $1.01 price point. It can happen, but at least you know where those levels exist, okay? At least you know. So say this drops down further. Good chance it's going to come back, pull back to 98 cents, and then hold a little bounce action there, all right? See if anything else is moving today. APM, that's garbage. HUSA again. I mean, that's just like, you know, look at what it's doing though. Look at that pullback. Where'd it go? You know, pretty much right back down to trend, right? So you kind of know exactly where that exists. Ooh, Nvidia, look at this move. Let me double check. Well, the SPY did roll over there. The market did roll over a little bit. Getting kind of weak. This is a situation where you'll most likely see Nvidia creep back down, right, to this level here at 528.49, and then it will probably bounce a little bit, okay? So unless the markets just decide to bounce right now, you'll probably see Nvidia decrease a little bit lower down to that price level, okay? Okay. Neo, not really much to go over there. Let's look at Zoom. Here you go. Here, Zoom, you know, kind of ran into this trend, kind of failing now. Not too exact, probably not the best for an example. I mean, this is another situation where you very well could see, I mean, we're getting to the slow period of the day, so the market's not moving quite as quickly. But so far, I think we've covered a pretty good amount for you. Let's check what SLV is doing, what the silver market is doing. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of in the middle of price action for the time being. Here you go. Look at the right side of this chart. You can kind of see every time that PED today spiked up, we kind of got close to that trend and rejected. And if you look at the left side, we've really been trying to kind of hold this half standard deviation system. Here's a good one, BEKE. I don't really know what this is about, why it's particularly dropping the way it is. But you can see the big snap happen as we cross through trend. We're getting down closer to some lower risk support areas where we could probably suggest doing a little bit of a bounce trade. So in this situation, I would like to see a BEKE all the way back down to the 63.27 price. And if you got down to here, that would make sense to put on a little bit of risk for maybe a long bias trade, okay? All right, so the market here is getting a little bearish. It's not quite holding those lower risk levels. So again, in this situation, we would look for the support to break down here, the price action support, that is, and actually go to the trending support of, say, 331.48 first, okay? So if price action support breaks, then we look for the trending support down here at 331.50, okay? There should be a slight hesitation hold, but the stronger support will be this blue line. If we can go all the way to the blue line, we'll probably have a low risk long trade that we can take at that point. So for the time being, we're just gonna watch this one trade and see how it plays out. Now, I don't mean to be silent, but there's only so much talking you can do. A lot of the game is just kind of sitting and waiting. All right, so again, make sure you carefully look at the screen, and I'll make this even bigger so we obviously can see it. All right, so again, we kind of broke support there on price action briefly, but let's watch that level. This is a level we would like to see the market go to and then see a little hesitation bounce there. Now, something that I will mention is if you go about following sort of the same system, same approach, it's not always going to be perfect, but what it will allow you to do, kind of like that trade earlier, you see how I kind of went long there, it didn't really work. That's okay, because as long as you know that you're picking some of the lower risk levels to put risk on, even if it works a little bit, that's usually going to be enough to get you in a small profitable trade to a very small loss, or even a break-even trade. And then if it does work, then you have yourself a phenomenal trade, okay? So that's the beauty of it, is when you have a really good idea as far as where stocks will go, where they're going to stop, where they're going to reverse, even if you're wrong and you're starting at the lowest risk level, you can be right by a small smidge and only wrong by a little bit. So you eliminate those really big losses. See, imagine if you thought that this here was going to be support, right? You're like, oh, I think that's support. So then you buy here, you get dumped on. Whereas I'm like, support kind of starts down here, right? You have a lower risk long section down there. So, we'll cover it there. We'll end this video. I'll make sure to come back on and do more videos for you guys in this sense. But as you can see, we had pretty much the best example with the stock HUSA, where we were able to tell you exactly where resistance was going to exist, where you were most likely going to see the wedge break down, go down to the $4 price and bounce. And that's really what a lot of the market is, just kind of sitting and waiting for your prices to be met. If you've missed the move, you don't chase it. You just kind of watch the market and wait for it to retrace to your specific levels where you know they're probably going to be a little bit more low risk. Hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to thumbs it up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.